Hey guys, Dino here, and wanted to bring everybody an update on where I'm at with my console experience. So, as most of you may or may not know, that doesn't make any sense, but I recently shifted over to consoles from PCs. The last time I played a console was probably the Nintendo 64, and I picked up my 360 a few weeks ago. So pretty rusty on the controllers, and I'm a hardcore PC player. I really got into Battlefield, things like that, won a few championships in Battlefield Vietnam, and I'm consider myself extremely good with the mouse and keyboard. So moving over to the controllers is definitely an adjustment. Obviously this game is an adjustment. What I want to focus on for this video is mainly talking about my experience with the controller as opposed to bitching about the game, because that's definitely one of my biggest issues. I also want to talk about a few other things, the PC console issue. This type of commentary, by the way, is usually what I do with my Portal 2 series. I started doing it in Left 4 Dead towards the end and picked it up in Portal 2, so whether or not you like Portal 2, talk about some fun things in those videos, so I encourage you to watch them if you like listening to me rant and ramble about how I see video games and where I'd like to go with them, and how I want to change them. So to start off with, we'll just talk about the controllers and go from there. So the big deal is mouse and keyboard versus controller, right? We know from what Microsoft has done, we know that the mouse and keyboard, it's probably superior. The test that they did pitted above average console players against average mouse and keyboard players in the same game, and mouse and keyboard won out handedly. That being said, I've seen some people on here, XCal is definitely one of them, who are retardedly good with the console controller. And I'm so far away from what would even come anywhere near being considered good that I'm definitely biased. So it's kind of strange. But anyway, so my first thing I want to talk about is just the whole dynamic of the controller. It changes the way that you play the levels, right? On PC at least, one of the worst things you can do is run around and have essentially tunnel vision. You don't look to your left or your right, you're not aware of your surroundings, and tunnel vision is something that's, to me, what I feel, it's forced on me as a result of using a controller. It's really frustrating because I love to look around and see what's going on. I run into a room and I see a guy and I quickly pan over to him and start smashing him, whereas in here, you're moving around a corner, and if you see a guy there, if you see a guy off to your right or something like that, there's usually nothing you can do, at least not on the sensitivity I use, which is a 3. I'm actually debating about even dropping it lower. So just what you saw right there, that kill right before the 4th kill streak, that is essentially my tactic or strategy on Xbox, is to more or less shoot and then move my body so my rounds hit him. And as we all know, that's probably not the most effective and accurate way of killing somebody, but that's about all I can do. So as you can see, I'm kind of all over there. Gosh, I just find it crazy to think that people can actually play this with a sensitivity greater than 3, because I feel like I need to knock it down to 2. Just missed that guy. It doesn't matter anyway because I got sniped. Yeah, that's one of my new things. I think a lot of you guys pointed out that I didn't ADS a whole lot doing the zombie videos. That was half and half due to my inexperience playing CoD, and the other half with just not working out with my playstyle. In general, on PC, I do not like to ADS at all. I have not played Call of Duty Black Ops on PC, otherwise I'd know these levels and be much more acquainted with them. But at least on Call of Duty, what did I play? CoD 4 on the PC. I bought that when it came out, and I played it for a few weeks, and after I started getting scores of 80 or 90 and 10, I basically gave up because I thought it was too easy. I still felt like it was quite random, and it wasn't always that I would go 80 or 90 and 10, but it was often enough that you know, even it wasn't 8 or 9 or 10, it was still like, you know, 16, 15 or something like that. So they weren't bad scores. And I don't want to get off into talking about my complaints about COD. So I just want you to know that if we're playing this on the PC, my scores are usually much more superior. Right now I'm sitting at 10 and something. Like I said, the way that I play is just drastically different. There's the buttons to me feel like a pain in the ass to do things like to jump, to prone, to do all the other stuff with. It's so convenient to do it on PC. Like you saw there, I still haven't got the muscle memory ingrained yet as far as hitting knife on the control stick as I run next to somebody. For whatever reason, I do have it on the PC on my mouse. It's that mouse button that sits right next to the controller, and it's really easy. So what I am doing on console is something like you just saw right there. I just cannot aim accurately, so I feel like the only shots I'm willing to take are these wide open, you know, hammer him instant, you know, guaranteed to kill the guy shots. You know, right here is a pretty good. Oh, I just can't take him down. Pretty infuriating. I've noticed I have a tendency to almost not even move. I feel sluggish, and I feel like a slug, and I feel like when I'm getting shot, you'll see it later on when it comes up to the next map, but I think he runs out of rounds, and I'm surprised I didn't die, but I just kind of sat there. And part of that is, oh, I just missed somebody else. And part of that is because, just because I don't think that I can move fast enough in order to react. I don't have, like I said, the dexterity on the controller. It feels like, I don't know, I think somebody in one of my videos commented it's like driving a car with your feet. I think something closer to me would be like it's like playing on the mouse and keyboard if your hands were numb. My style in video games tends to be extremely aggressive. It really doesn't favor the COD style gameplay in general, and that's doubly so for console. I think consoles are not only tend to be more campy than their PC counterparts, but I'm trying to think how to put this. They favor the use of campers, and then they favor their success as well because they're harder to avoid, and you're more likely to do it because it is harder to aim. And one of the ways of getting around that aiming mess is basically just sit in a corner and just, you know, hammer somebody as he walks in front of your screen. There's, you know, not a lot of skill involved with that, but it's one of the ways to get around it. And a lot of people do it. And also, obviously, heavily involves the whole TDM style game that COD is. But like I said, I don't want to get into that. So maybe more on that later. The next bit I wanted to talk about is just my experience with consoles in general, coming from someone who's played PC their whole lives, more or less. I think their ease of use far and away blows computers out of the water. I don't think there's any question what's easier, sticking a game in a box and hitting start and it works, as opposed to, you know, doing drivers and making sure your monitor works, and you know, you have to have a mouse and all that other stuff, and the mouses have different DPIs and different speeds, and sometimes you set one on your OS and it doesn't reflect it in game, or, you know, all sorts of weird shit. You buy a controller, you buy an Xbox, you plug them in, they work, and it's awesome. It makes things so much easier, hassle-free. You know, as far as recording games go and putting them online, nothing is easier than using the HD PVR for a lot of reasons. The files that you make with a game, I think for around, this is just a rough estimate, because I actually haven't used it too much because I just have not had a chance to play a whole lot. I think, want to say an hour is somewhere around 8 gigs. That's at recording at 720p. And to contrast that with what goes on with PC, using fraps on PC at 30 frames, which is an average, you know, pretty average, whatchamacallit, resolution, is, I think it's about 4 gigs every 3 minutes. So I get 4 gigs in 3 minutes on the PC, and I get 8 gigs over an hour on console. I could run my console HD PVR for the next year and it wouldn't fill up my hard drive, but if I left it on for a few hours, as far as fraps goes on my PC, it would destroy my computer. The other issue is that you don't take a frame rate or graphical gameplay hit basically when using the console to record, or HTTP/VR to record your console stuff. But when you're playing on a PC and you use fraps, you're going to take a pretty big frame hit, and depending on how good your computer is, you might not be able to handle it. So, I even noticed that for some reasons on some games it works, it's harder on them than others. I actually had no problem doing things like Batman. I shouldn't say no problem. Batman slowed down, but it wasn't too big of an issue. I've actually noticed that even League of Legends slows down. Dead Space 2, I couldn't tell any difference at all. And let's see what else. I couldn't even play The Witcher 2. It just wouldn't work. It would drop down to 1 to 5 frames, and it looks like a slideshow. So if you're wondering why I'm playing CoD on console, or why I'm playing consoles at all, it's because you guys have a much larger player base. I have a lot more friends. It's way easier to connect with everyone, and I'm more user friendly. So that's why I wanted to come over to consoles. Let's see. So as far now, I'll talk about the recording stuff. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, just joining up into servers. I feel like one of the biggest black marks, maybe even almost the only black mark. Well, the two big black marks in my mind against consoles are the controller, or rather, being unable to use a mouse and keyboard, and basically the servers. One of the things I've noticed is that, well, number one, you don't get to see ping, and on PC, all those scores I was telling you about were servers where I had around probably no more than 75 ping. As a general rule of thumb, I won't go over 100. Anything less than 75 is great, or good rather. Anything less than 50 is awesome, and I usually don't get pings less than about less than 50. I would never even consider it an option to play with a greater than 100 ping, and you don't know what you're getting on console, but sometimes it's very, very clear that no matter when you're shooting somebody, you just simply cannot shoot fast enough, and usually it's when you have 3 bars or less. Sometimes you can do just fine with 3 bars, but anyway, so that's really frustrating. I think consoles really need dedicated servers, it's until they get them, they're definitely, some dildo playing with a host advantage is going to massacre everyone. I can't even believe that it's an option to not have dedicated servers on a first-person shooter game, because of the massive advantage you get when playing with the host advantage. And not to mention, you have to factor in all the other variables, like, oh gosh, you're playing with friends, and one of you guys is on the West Coast, the other's on the East Coast, and the guy searching for games is going to be finding games on the West Coast, so he's already fucked. So regardless of location, which is one of those variables, now you've got to figure out, like, if that person who's hosting, is their speed good enough, to reliably host, multiple players. Maybe not. Maybe their internet speed is okay, but so you've got location, whether or not they even have enough speed in the first place. And then, maybe their brother, or maybe they're fucking downloading, porn, twinks.com on another computer. It shouldn't even be there. It shouldn't be an option. Everyone would have a lot more enjoyable experience, I think, if it was a dedicated server. I've heard that Bad Company 2 does, and I think that's because the game requires more engine-wise. There's not a whole lot of moving parts to these levels, so I think even though they have nice graphics, they look pretty, that they don't necessarily take as much as Bad Company 2. So, just real quick, go back to this game. You notice I started off a little slow. I think I died like 3 times in a row. Starting to pick it up, getting a little bit of a groove here. I just booted up my Xbox this morning and played, a couple games. I think this is the 3rd game I played. And I'll show you my player card after we're all done. I think I have about 10 hours played in CoD. But like as far as consoles go, I only have my time played in CoD and then my time played in Zombies, and that's it. So I probably have a good, I don't know, solid 10 hours in Zombies. I have maybe 20, 25 hours on console, period, learning how to use the controller. So I don't think I'm doing too bad given how little I've played. But at the same time, like, watching my performance here is embarrassing and infuriating, and part of me fully expects to log on to YouTube tomorrow and find out that half my subscribers have unsubscribed because they're embarrassed about being associated with some worthless shithead who does so terrible. If this were happening on PC right now, I'd strangle myself with my own fucking power cords. I mean, this is just beyond acceptable. Like I said, for all those reasons I listed earlier, I just feel like I'm totally hamstrung, and I'm not quite sure what to do. I'm starting to pick it up a little bit here, getting, like I said, a little bit of a groove. I think I'm going to stick on the 3 sensitivity. God, I just could not take him down. I think I'm going to stick on 3 for a long time. Occasionally I'll keep trying to go back up to 4. And, 4 is definitely nice because I get to move around a little bit faster. But the aiming is just so far off. It's just not even an option. So I'm starting to get hit. One of the things I'm learning is that I just can't play on consoles, like I said, the way I play on PC. So on PC, I'm getting hit. My tendency would be to honestly run, charge, maybe dive, and just smash him in the face. And on consoles, because my aim is not there, and the strategic way I approach playing the maps isn't possible, I need to figure out different ways of getting things done. And unfortunately, to me, that correlates to playing a lot safer, and I hate playing safe. But I feel like I'm forced to using a controller that I'm so terrible with. It just bugs the fuck out of me being unable, like I said, to quickly react and respond to anything going on around me. Just missed that guy. I feel like I should have nailed him. I saw him a mile away. Go in here. Oh, he's in the corner, and I'm dead. Which corner was he in? Didn't really know. And a console, yeah, it's a toss whether or not I could have got that, but I would have had a much better chance. And this was a big mistake here. I need to learn how to back off when I'm starting to get hit because, like I said, I just don't have the accuracy to do that. I think I do much better on the close quarter combat levels in general because I don't know if it's one of my strengths or most people's weaknesses, however you want to look at it. But usually I feel like I'm 9 times out of 10 the first to hit the trigger, and I almost always see them before they see me. And like I said, I don't want to talk too much about CoD, but like as far as Battlefield goes, there's no radar. There's obviously radar in here, and half the reason I'm first on the trigger is because I simply knew they were there, and they had no idea I was there. And that's definitely not the case in CoD. So no matter how fast you are on the trigger, if they're spawning, the spy planes constantly, you're probably fucked, and they probably know where you're at. So just slowly getting used to that, trying to remember how exactly I combated that in CoD 4. And it's basically just moving quickly from place to place. If you kill somebody, it's probably a good idea to pick it up and move. They're going to be looking for you, instantly respawning in, no less, and coming to hunt you down. That's obviously something else I have an issue with, is just being too slow to react, off of sprint. I'm actually using Steady Aim Pro, like you saw. I should be a little faster, but because of the whole way I aim, either way, I made the right choice to shoot him first. I wasn't sure which guy to take down. But because of the way I aim, I can't really back away and fall back and spray. I just don't have the dexterity to do it. So that, you just saw, I mean, this is a perfect example of, okay, to me it looked like I shot and killed that guy, but I don't know. That was a perfect example of the, whatchamacallit, tunnel vision. So I came in that little corridor, I killed the 2 guys that were there, and then that guy came in and literally went prone right next to me and didn't even look around and see me there. I mean, because he's so focused on what is right in front of him. And, I think, that's part of the problem shifting from consoles to PC. Well, to either one, but specifically from consoles to PC, is the way that you play is so much different as a result of using the controller. I think people have a harder time adapting to PC because in general the guys on PC are aware and see a lot more just because their controller device lets them do that. Doesn't mean they're better players they're more effective players, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't do the same thing. It's just that's how the nature of the game. So Well, I think that about wraps it up as far as my initial thoughts on all this stuff. I hope you guys don't mind this type of commentary. You know, I'm really hesitant to want to post any videos of Black Ops, like I said, because of how atrocious I am. And, you know, I don't know, like I said, I feel like this is really, really embarrassing. You know, maybe it's interesting to see the transition of where I'm going and stuff like that, so maybe you guys might like that. I know if it was me personally, I wouldn't have any interest in watching somebody who's complete garbage, and I feel like that's the state I'm at right now, complete and total garbage. So, basically I just graduated school, I'm studying for my boards, I take those in a month, and after that, I should have a lot more time. So basically 1 more month, and I won't have a whole lot to do, and I'll be able to sit down and focus and practice which is what I need in order to get halfway decent with the controller. So I'm going to show you guys my player card, just so you know I'm not making up bullshit here. I think, like I said, it's around 10 hours or something like that. Let's see. Bring it up here. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to bring it up. Anyway, I'm around 10 hours, and my KD I think is like a 0.67. So anyway, that's where I'm at. So stay tuned. There's more terrible gaming to come.